Hello there, everyone. You know who I am, E.T. Templar, Alien Crusader from Beyond the Heavens, here to entertain and destroy through the power of me magic. And in this video, I'm talking about just four obscure movies that I really enjoy, that I watch quite frequently, uh, time and time again, just because I like them. I like the worlds they're set in, I like the characters, I like the obscure details in them. And these four movies, I think three of them did pretty terrible in theaters. Like, they didn't make their money back. They were giant flops. But for me, a success of a movie, or movies that I like, don't necessarily have to qualify as success in theaters to be good. Then again, I have a weird taste in movies, not really like usual normal people. But we'll start off with interesting ones based off a book series that I really need to read. But Golden Compass, this was one of the elsewhere movies that's set in like a 1917 post World War One, with like magic and people's souls are represented by animals, and it's just a cool freaking movie. It's got Daniel Craig, Sam Elliott. I think it even has what's her face, Ian McKellen, Nicole Kidman even. And it's just one of those weird. It's one of those like elsewhere universes that's cool. And plus, it's got Eric Benderson, an armored polar bear, which is just badass. Armored bears, like, it's just a unique, interesting story. And plot wise, she has a special compass that, anyways, I don't want to spoil it, but this is one of those weird movies that I saw and I was like, okay, it's cool. I fucking love it. And this one, of course, wasn't in theaters. I saw this one. I've mentioned this one in streams before. The Last Sentinel. Of course, it's got Keith David, Katie Sackhoff, and Don the Dragon Wilson. And I originally saw this on Sci-Fi Channel, and I remember watching it with my best friend, laughing at it. But as the movie went on, it won us over. Even though it's an independent movie, it has tons of heart. It has a cool plot that has to do with the United States government making these like combat androids as policemen that kind of take over the United States. So it's just remnants of humanities versus the drone police force. It's just awesome. And plus, Don the Dragon Wilson's character is a part of this military unit called the EE 700th, which are basically like orphans taken off the street and just turned into absolute like fighting machines. So it's kind of like Halo in that aspect, where they just take all these orphans and condition them and train them into be like these awesome soldiers. But another good one, obscure. You can probably see this free on YouTube or somewhere else, but if you can find the Blu-ray and pick it up for like $5 or $9, it's definitely a good, interesting watch. Plus, Keith David plays Colonel Hal Norton in the flashback, and he plays Hal Norton that they took his consciousness, put it in an AI, and then put it on a freaking minigun. Yes, and it's badass. Of course, Ultraviolet was another one that all these movie reviewers, I think Brain shit on it. I think Nostalgia Critic shit on it pretty good. But the idea of the hemophages, and if you watch this now, especially after the post-COVID stuff, you're like, that's pretty scary because this movie predicted some things. Check it out. Just on that reason alone. And I think it does a good service to the comic book. I've never read the comic book, but a lot of reviewers say that's, the crappy effects for the time this was made. It was, they're always complaining about, but it's like that was a style. It was stylized into like that kind of comic book like thing, the lighting, and I think it was just a direct art direction the director went with. And this is another one that's pretty obscure, pretty terrible by everyone else's standards, but it has a charm to it. Even Mila Jovovich, like Wet Blanket Ass, is like pretty decent and interesting in it. Uh, Here's another one, Dracula Untold, that did terrible in theaters, but I think it's Luke Evans. Is that? Let me check my notes. Yeah, Luke Evans in this really sells the character, And that's one thing I'll reference this with Morbius that I just finished watching. I might do a video on that, where Jared Leto and Luke Evans, they really live the character. You can tell they put a whole lot of heart and soul, and that's where I'm gonna go back to The Last Sentinel. Keith David, for the small role that he has in this movie as Colonel Hal Norton and the AI, he's really enjoying the role, and that's what, to me, what makes a successful movie movie is that if there's characters and actors that they like love their roles and they're just going all out with it, and that's where Jared Leto makes Morbius a successful movie, because you're watching it, it's like this character is believable, they're living the role. And that's why, like, I'm into obscure B&D movies that aren't technically successes, because I find them more interesting. And of course, the worlds and plots in these movies are just really cool. Uh, and I watch these on occasion, like rewatch them, because they're just that interesting to me. And for whatever reason, they just connected to me for whatever like obscure reason. And maybe you will too. But those are four movies that I would suggest, and aren't really mainstream, but are just as good as interesting. So, The Last Sentinel, Dracula Untold, Ultraviolet, and The Golden Compass. And those are four obscure movies that I really enjoy, that everyone else and all the reviewers seem to hate. Maybe I'm a hipster, but I just absolutely love those four movies. And I would recommend these four movies if you're into just unique and different world uh, plot wise, and even the characters in these movies are pretty awesome. Even Lyra, as annoying as she is an interesting character. But yeah, if you watch these movies, they're definitely entertaining, and for as their budget and stuff is concerned, uh, I would consider these four movies successes, because they're entertaining, and for what they have to work with, they're far above average. But anyways, see you next time. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. God bless, and see you next time.